Have you ever wondered how the autistic and LGBTQ plus communities are connected? Well, please stick around because that's just what we're going to talk about today. Hi friends, this is Claire from Woodshed Theory. I put out videos on what it's like for an adult living on the spectrum 3 times a week. So if that sounds interesting to you, or if you're just willing to help me get to 1,000 subscribers, I'd ask that you please hit that subscribe button down below. It really helps me out and I really appreciate it. I have to remind Al that I'm here. If you are watching this the day that it's posted, it means that today is June the 2nd and we are just coming out of Autism Acceptance Month and it is officially Pride Month. I have thought long and hard about how I wanted to address this because I would consider myself an ally to the LGBTQ plus community, and I wanted to bring some things to light that as an autistic person on the spectrum, I find extremely important and I really feel need to be addressed. This is not the easiest topic for me to talk about because I was raised in a culture that was not supportive of the LGBTQ plus community, and I do have some internal shame surrounding that I'm working on. However, I do think that it is so important to normalize saying that you were wrong about a subject like this and to be able to talk about it. If you were raised with a belief system that taught you that something was wrong and now you know differently, I almost feel like it's your duty to speak out about it and to normalize being wrong and healing from that. That is what is going to bring our communities forward during this really trying time in American history. There is a lot of work to be done, so let's start. So what does the LGBTQ plus community have to do with autism? And why do I find it necessary to bring it up today in a video? That is a very excellent question. You may know that autistic people usually identify as other. I am not even talking about sexuality here, and I really won't be talking about sexuality during this video. So if you came for that, I'm sorry. Autists are different. Our brains function in a way that is very different to that of a neurotypical. We see the world in a completely different way. I myself will oftentimes identify as alien or other. It's the way I feel most comfortable describing my human experience because it seems to get the point across in the best way possible. I am different, my brain is different. I can tell you that I'm not swimming downstream with the rest of the fish. I am doing my own thing. If you look at my Woodshed Theory logo, you'll notice an alien or a creature of some sort hanging out in a woodshed. This is because I am aware that I am differently minded than others, and it does feel alien. So when you are different, it is a lot easier to accept people or other groups of people who may be considered different or not following the status quo. This includes someone's sexuality or even lack thereof. Point being that autistic people on the whole are a very accepting bunch and are happy to let people just be themselves because it means a lot to us too. I've mentioned before, but as an autistic person, I just see people as people and don't really consider gender or sexuality. I see people more as beings first, and then gender and sexuality are secondary indicators of their human state. So on to my actual point, and the reason that I am making this video is that many LGBTQ plus people are also on the spectrum. Or maybe the best way to say this is many autistic people are also LGBTQ plus. Studies show that autistic people are 6 times more likely to be gender diverse than neurotypical people, with a higher percentage relating to ASD trans men. And this does make sense because, as I explained, autistic people see and interact with the world differently than neurotypical people. So it makes sense that if you are autistic, your sexuality may be different or your gender may be different than what is considered heteronormative. But as far as the current studies show, the biggest link seems to be between the ASD community and the trans community. Now, I do want to be clear that none of this follows a set of rules. I am not saying that if you are autistic, you will also be gay. I am also not saying that if you are autistic, that means you will be trans. Also, vice versa, just because you are LGBTQ+ does not mean that you are autistic. Additionally, autism doesn't cause someone to be gay or trans. See, I told you it's a difficult topic to discuss because all of the autism moms are about to come at me. But it is worth getting my message across because it is such an important message. Learning that I was on the spectrum helped me immensely, and I would not go back for any reason. I really care about my autistic community, and that includes the large part of my community that is LGBTQ+. I believe our communities overlap in a common diversity, and that it is important that we support each other. Why? Well, because of the not so great sides to being an undiagnosed autistic person, overlapped with the stress of being gender diverse in a traditionally heteronormative leaning country. To be frank, it's a dangerous place to be, and I want to talk about that. Both autistics and those in the LGBTQ+ community are at much higher risk for depression and self-harm. The risk of suicide is substantially increased, way higher than is typical among neurotypical people. So just think, if you fall into both categories, both autistic and LGBTQ, how dangerous life could be for you if, one, you don't know that you have autism, and two, you're struggling through being internally a different gender than you were physically born to. It's a really dangerous place to be living. And what does that mean? Our lack of acceptance and understanding of ourselves is literally killing people in my community. And it's not okay. People need to say something. They need to stand up. I don't care what your personal beliefs are. If you think it's okay for somebody to be so depressed that they off themselves, we don't need to be friends. So to reiterate, autistic people are 6 times more likely to be gender diverse. We need to take care of each other in a world that isn't ready to hear or understand what this means. And that is what I wanted to have my video be about today. A call to unity and awareness, a call to support each other, and a call to allow people to be 100% authentically themselves. It is important that we start to talk about these things publicly so that people can start to heal. I'm really excited about the future of the research on this topic. The findings that autistic people are 6 times more likely to be gender diverse are recent, as early as 2020, and we have a long way to go. I'm glad that we've finally gotten this far. It's not that long ago that autism was considered a boy's disorder, and we were still using the term for autism named after a literal Nazi. That was in the past 20 years, people. It's not that long ago. I am grateful for the opportunity to talk about this and bring awareness to this subject. So what about you? Do you know about the correlation between autism and gender diversity? Is this something that you've experienced yourself? What do you think is the best way to address this correlation, and what do you think it means for our communities as a whole? Anyway, that is it for me. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please go ahead and comment them down below, and I will see you next time.